Walt Disney turned to fairy tales again and again throughout the early years of his studio. Little Red Riding Hood.
I'm bringing Grandma cakes and wine. She's awful, awful sick. I'm in a great big...
Snow White. Cinderella. The Three Little Pigs.
Who's afraid of the big bad wolf? Big bad wolf, big bad wolf.
Mother Goose, and many others.
Now, don't get hard-boiled or I'll stick an egg beater on you.
I'll mow you down. Look out below.
These old stories gave Walt Disney and his artists something really valuable. Familiar tales that already had wide audience appeal, that they could then twist, modernize, and rebuild around new personalities, new gags, and eventually, new stars. And there's one specific fairy tale that holds a special record. It's the most revisited fairy tale in the studio's early history. Hi, I'm Dennis, and this is West of Neverland. While we all remember that Disney's big breakthrough was a retelling of the fairy tale Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, there's another fairy tale that he kept returning to over and over again. So today, we're looking into Walt's versions of Jack and the Beanstalk. In the early days of Walt Disney's animation career back in Kansas City, Missouri in 1922, he created a series of modernized fairy tales that he called Laugh-O-Grams. These included modern retellings of various fairy tales. One story he actually adapted twice was Jack and the Beanstalk. The first was a September 1922 Laugh-O-Gram called Jack and the Beanstalk, which is also known as On the Up and Up, which included an elaborate vine-growing sequence animated by Walt Disney himself. And then later that same year came Jack the Giant Killer, also known as the K.O. Kid, which strays a bit from the original fairy tale. In that one, Jack and his friends travel to an island populated by giants. For many years, both of these films were considered lost. Then, around 2010, animation historian David Gerstein helped bring both back into view. Jack and the Beanstalk, under its reissue title On the Up and Up, turned up in a private collection and was preserved through the Library of Congress, while Jack the Giant Killer, under the title The K.O. Kid, was identified in the Museum of Modern Art's holdings. Currently, only Jack the Giant Killer is available to watch online, although from this weird angle. It's great that these two shorts that were once considered lost are now found, and hopefully both will be widely available to watch sometime in the near future. But Walt wasn't finished with Jack just yet. A little over a decade later, Disney returned to the tale in the 1933 Mickey Mouse short, Giantland. This time, the framing device is that Mickey is telling a bedtime story to a bunch of young mice, with himself in the role of Jack. He picks up the story as he climbs the beanstalk up to Giantland. He arrives at the castle just as the giant sits down to eat. Of course, Mickey picks the worst places to hide, in the giant's food. Eventually, he ends up in the giant's mouth in a fairly unsettling scene, especially since I get grossed out by food easily. He finally gets smoked out when the giant smokes his pipe. And then it's a bit of cat and mouse, or giant and mouse, until Mickey triggers a sneeze from the giant that blows up the castle and sends Mickey flying. Then it's down the beanstalk, which Mickey sets on fire, sending the giant
down, and it came out in China. Now, what do you think of that?
It's a playful setup. Mickey was the storyteller, the hero, and really the bridge between Disney's old fairy tale material and the studio's new audiences. 5 years later, Mickey Mouse had gone through quite a ride as a worldwide sensation and the emerging face of the Disney studio. But he was also becoming overshadowed by some of the other rising stars of the studio, especially Donald Duck and Goofy.
For a moment, I thought it wasn't me.
More and more, Mickey took the role of straight man while Donald and Goofy got most of the laughs. Walt wanted to bring Mickey back into the spotlight by featuring him in more adventurous stories where he could be the leading man and hero, possibly a Douglas Fairbanks type hero, which is who he patterned Mickey after in the 1928 short The Galloping Gaucho. Two productions that were intended to reinvigorate Mickey's career were The Sorcerer's Apprentice, which evolved into Fantasia, and The Brave Little Tailor. The Brave Little Tailor is loosely based on the original 1812 Brothers Grimm tale with the same name. In the original, a simple tailor's life changes when he successfully kills 7 houseflies by swatting them with his jammed bread. Encouraged by this event and his own vanity and audacity, he sets out to seek his fortune by outsmarting a group of giants, a unicorn, and a wild boar by tricking them all with his cunning, ultimately winning the princess and half the kingdom, showing how cleverness and courage can overcome physical size and strength. In Disney's version,
Brave Tailor, I appoint you Royal High Killer of the Giant.
Giant?
Mickey is a well-meaning underdog fighting a single giant out of love for Princess Minnie. But once he sets out, he's not as confident as the tailor in the original fairy tale.
So long. I'll be seeing you. I hope.
But still, he sets off on the adventure, and just when he's doubting himself,
Gosh, I don't know how to catch a giant.
the giant shows up, and just like in Giantland, this is the giant's time to eat, and Mickey finds himself inside the giant's mouth, showing us once again what that thing in the back of your throat is good for. And also, just like in Giantland, Mickey is found out when the giant starts to smoke.
Gesundheit.
Don't smoke, kids. Ultimately, Mickey defeats the giant by using the skills he already had, his scissors and thread, to take down the giant and win the hand of the fair Minnie as the sleeping giant powers their carnival. While this is not really the story of Jack and the Beanstalk, it's definitely Jack and the Beanstalk adjacent. This was one of Mickey's most elaborate and expensive shorts the studio had made up to that point, and the October 1938 issue of Motion Picture Reviews called it an enjoyable and exciting short, sure to thrill young and old alike. This is actually my favorite Mickey Mouse short. I love the premise of him as the reluctant hero who wins in the end. One of my favorite pieces of animation in the whole short comes during Mickey's demonstration of how he killed the 7 flies.
And then I let him have it.
Which, of course, the king misunderstands as 7 giants. Mickey spins as he swings his sword to demonstrate the killing blow. The sequence is a surprising example of the effort put into this short. It shows how animation can shift from 2s to 1s depending on how smooth the motion needs to be. If you don't exactly know what I mean by 2s and 1s, film runs through a camera at 24 frames a second. But most of the time, animation can be economized by animating at 12 drawings per second, with each drawing held for 2 frames. In other words, it's animated on 2s. But sometimes the motion needs to be faster and smoother than 2s can give you, and that's when the animators dig in and animate on 1s. 1 drawing for every frame. And in this sequence, animated by Frank Thomas, if you go frame by frame, you can see Mickey changing on every frame through the spin. Just as the motion slows down, it settles back into 2s. Watching it at full speed, you don't consciously notice the switch. You just feel how smooth it is. But that's the beauty of it. The studio wasn't afraid to use the more fully animated 1s for special fluid action where it mattered the most. That level of care is why the short feels so special.
Whoopee! I'll cut him down to my size.
And it also helps explain why Mickey's giant adventures kept pulling Walt back in, but the next adventure had to wait a little while. With the success of The Brave Little Tailor in 1938, Disney began developing what was planned to be a 2-reel special featuring Mickey, Donald, and Goofy in Jack and the Beanstalk. That seemed like a natural next step. Mickey still needed strong starring material, and pairing him with Donald and Goofy had already proven to be a winning combination in cartoons like Mickey's Service Station, Clock Cleaners, and Lonesome Ghosts.
We're from the Ajax Ghost Exterminator Company.
But then, history intervened. Like so many Disney projects from that era, larger plans were disrupted by the war years. What had once been intended as separate features or prestige projects often had to be reconfigured or postponed or folded into something practical. Both Bongo and Mickey and the Beanstalk were in production in 1940 and 1941 as standalone features, but both had to be shelved as the studio was enlisted to help produce wartime education and propaganda films. And their overseas box office was shut off by the war. But as the studio cautiously stepped back toward feature animation after World War II, Disney assembled a number of package films from shorter projects. In this case, Bongo and Mickey and the Beanstalk were combined into a film that was framed by the return of Jiminy Cricket, who eases us in with the song Fun and Fancy Free.
Full of fun and fancy free.
Fun and Fancy Free was released in 1947 and was the second post-war package film, following up the previous year's Make Mine Music. The first half of the film is Bongo, which honestly I always kind of felt a little dragged out for my taste, like it's 2 or 3 times as long as it really needs to be. And for me, the real star of the show was Mickey and the Beanstalk. For this segment, Jiminy Cricket wanders into a party for Luana Patton that's being thrown by Edgar Bergen with Charlie McCarthy and Mortimer Snerd. From there, Bergen and his dummy companions tell the story, offering a running commentary that eventually gives way to the animated world itself.
And something very precious is kept within these castle walls.
What is it?
It's a magic singing harp. Listen.
What a happy day.
The tale itself is fairly faithful to Jack and the Beanstalk, except now Jack is replaced with Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. Mickey is the steady center, Donald is the short fuse,
Shut up! I can't stand it!
and Goofy is, well, Goofy. But behind the scenes, Mickey was undergoing his biggest change yet. This was actually the final film where Walt Disney himself provided the regular voice for Mickey Mouse. Midway through production, Walt decided that his heavy smoking habit and his busy schedule made it too difficult to maintain the voice. So he asked sound effects wizard Jimmy McDonald to give it a try. Once Jimmy proved that he could deliver a convincing Mickey, Walt officially passed the torch. So sometimes in this movie, Mickey's voice here is Walt, and sometimes it's McDonald. Can you tell the difference?
Yeah, fellas, I sold the cow for some magic beans. How'd you get here?
I was kidnapped by that wicked giant.
Oh, a giant. Gesundheit. Well, of course, if you can't do a fly, why,
All right.
McDonald would go on to voice the mouse for decades, with the notable exception of the Mickey Mouse Club introductions in the 1950s, which Walt provided the voice for.
Hi, partners.
Hi, Mickey!
Well, this here's our roundup day, so, you all pretty nigh ready? Shown up. Then let's get on with it.
Mickey and his companions are introduced after the giant has stolen the magical golden harp and Happy Valley is turned into a wasteland. Just when Donald completely loses his cool from starvation and tries to butcher their cow, Mickey decides to sell their old friend for food. Instead, he comes back with a box of magic beans.
What do you mean, beans?
Yeah, fellas, I sold the cow for some magic beans.
Badge?
They never actually show how Mickey got the magic beans. In early story plans, they discussed using Honest John and Gideon from Pinocchio as con men who would buy the cow from Mickey and then disguise themselves as tax collectors and take the money back. After which Mickey is desperate and buys the magic beans. In another treatment that got to the storyboard phase, Mickey brought the cow to Queen Minnie, who in turn gives him their family heirloom, the magic beans. Neither treatment was used in the final film, Of course, Mickey's hungry companions are not pleased by the deal Mickey got for the cow. But next is my favorite part, the Beanstalk growth sequence. There's something about this scene that I just love. The music is a bolero-inspired snake charm tune that perfectly accentuates the vines as they grow up to the sky. Taking the trio of sleeping heroes with them. The gags where the characters are always just about to plunge to their deaths are really funny. When they wake up in the morning and find themselves in a giant land in the clouds, they are immediately filled with wonder, which is exactly how Walt wanted his audience to feel too. During development, he made special instructions not to include any monstrous insects or things that would be frightening. Even the giant really isn't that threatening like he was in Giantland or the brave little Tailor. Instead, he's presented as a dim-witted oaf who's more playful than anything.
Hee-hi-ho-hum. I'm stuff I'm telling you, for here's what I can do.
The voice of the giant is actually someone you've probably heard before, Billy Gilbert. Gilbert had been performing in vaudeville from around age 12, and he became famous for a comic sneezing routine that turned into his trademark. That routine helped lead to one of his most famous Disney roles, Sneezy in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And in Mickey and the Beanstalk, he really gets to show off more of his comic range, like when he's trying to demonstrate his shape-shifting abilities to impress Mickey and wants to transform himself into a bunny with long pink ears.
You sure you don't want a pink bunny? Hey, what is this?
This shape-shifting ability was something that was lifted from the fairy tale Puss in Boots, which features an ogre who has magical shape-shifting abilities. One of the best moments comes when Mickey is trying to get the key to free the harp and accidentally kicks up Willie's snuff.
I'll smash! I'll smack!
Originally, the Disney film was going to also include the hen that lays the golden egg from the original fairy tale. That part was going to be played by Clara Cluck. Also, the harp was going to be a caricature of actress Zazu Pitts, who might have also provided the voice. But by the time it actually went into production, the harp design was finalized by Les Clark, who also was the primary animator for her.
In my favorite dream.
The harp's voice was Anita Gordon, a singer who had a long career in radio, records, and television, most notably as a regular on The Charlie McCarthy Show, in which Charlie was smitten with her. Maybe this is why she was chosen to be the voice of the harp, because of her connection with Edgar Bergen and his appearance in the film. And actually, a few days after Fun and Fancy Free was released, Walt Disney and Donald Duck, voiced by Clarence Nash of course, appeared on The Charlie McCarthy Show to promote the movie.
Well, there you are, Edgar. Well, Walt Disney... Donald Duck. Well, Edgar, how did you like the picture?
Mr. Disney, it behooves me to say that it was an honor, a great honor to work for you.
Oh, Charlie, that's nice of you.
An honor, I might say, I richly deserve.
Well, I hope we have the pleasure working together again.
That would be nice. Mr. Disney, I can do the same thing for you that I did for Bergen.
Oh, no, thanks. I like to keep my hair.
And Anita Gordon sang the song My Favorite Dream.
You're the hero, my most favorite
Well, it was Anita Gordon that was the golden harp. No wonder they were happy.
Edgar Bergen and Walt Disney were close friends who shared a similar sense of humor. Bergen was one of the few people Walt Disney actually socialized with. They would collaborate a few times in addition to Fun and Fancy Free. Years earlier, Bergen and his dummies appeared on a special radio program to promote Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Then later in 1950, they appeared on Walt Disney's Christmas special, 1 Hour in Wonderland, to help promote Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, slave in the magic mirror, come from the farther space.
How hammy can you get? Do you girls know this character, Disney?
Yes, he's our father.
Oh.
Eventually, Mickey and the gang would free the harp and escape the giant, who would seemingly perish after his terrible fall when the gang chops down the Beanstalk, leaving Mortimer Snurd devastated.
Willie was a nice giant, he was. He just got too big for his britches.
Until the giant makes a surprise appearance at the end.
Hey, has anybody seen anything of a teensy-weensy little mouse?
To shock Edgar Bergen. Willie the Giant then walks off through Hollywood, putting on the Brown Derby restaurant as a hat. But the Beanstalk story didn't end there, because Disney would soon turn to television. Walt Disney later repurposed Mickey and the Beanstalk for an episode of Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color called The Truth About Mother Goose, which aired on November 17, 1963. In that episode, Ludwig von Drake and Herman the Boodle Beetle.
Mother Goose was my grandma, and here is a portrait to prove it. This is me on my grandmother Goose's knee when I was a little duckling. And anyway, here now is Herman to prove to you that Mother Goose really was my grandmother.
Guide viewers through the true stories of familiar nursery rhymes using clips from the 1957 short, The Truth About Mother Goose.
We'll get the truth, the facts forsooth, solve this age-old mystery.
Then they transition to the full fantasy story of Jack and the Beanstalk.
In fairy tales, you will find all kinds of giants. There are small giants and the big economy-sized giants, like the one in Jack and the Beanstalk,
where Von Drake and Herman totally replaced the original live-action framing with Edgar Bergen and Luana Patton in the dummies. Even in the end, when Willie reveals he's not dead, it's Von Drake who faints.
Has anybody seen anything of a teensy-weensy little mouse?
What do you mean a little mouse? Would you put the roof back on the house and go away? I'm talking to my no, wee-wee, it's a wee-wee.
Now, if you watch the full feature of Fun and Fancy Free on Disney Plus today, you'll see the original Edgar Bergen party segments. But for decades, whenever Disney released Mickey and the Beanstalk all by itself as a standalone cartoon on VHS or DVD, this television version with Ludwig von Drake was the cut they used. But the legacy of Jack and the Beanstalk through the Disney studio doesn't end there. The legacy of this material stretches farther than you might think. For one thing, Willie the Giant came back in Mickey's Christmas Carol as the Ghost of Christmas Present. He has that same oversized warmth.
Don't eat me! Why would the Ghost of Christmas Present, that's me, want to eat a distasteful little miser like you?
The same trouble pronouncing pistachio.
Chocolate pot roast with pistachio, with green gravy. And don't forget the chocolate pot roast with pistachio, with yogurt.
And some of the same fun giant business translated into a Christmas setting. And more recently, both The Brave Little Tailor and Mickey and the Beanstalk have made an appearance at Disneyland in the queue of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. From The Brave Little Tailor, you can spot props like the fly swatter and scissors. And from Mickey and the Beanstalk itself is grown up through the ceiling of the building and can even be seen from outside in Toontown. That's one of my favorite things about Disney history. These stories have a legacy far beyond where they started. A 1922 Kansas City fairy tale short leads to a Mickey bedtime story, which leads to an ambitious giant-killing cartoon, which leads to one of the strongest package film segments Disney ever made, which then keeps echoing through television, home video, and later Mickey projects. And even a Disneyland queue. So the story that you might least expect to be the one most visited really is the one that the studio just couldn't leave alone. So what about you? Which Disney giant adventure do you enjoy more? Giant Land, The Brave Little Tailor, or Mickey and the Beanstalk? Or should I have included Gulliver Mickey, where he himself is the giant? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this look at Disney's long relationship with fairy tales and Mickey's adventures with giants, I think you'll really enjoy my video on other classic Mickey Mouse cartoons that are hiding in the Runaway Railway queue. And special thanks to my channel members, especially my producers, listed now on the screen. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider subscribing and joining. I'm Dennis, this is West of Neverland, and I'll see you real soon.